Hey everybody, I'm going to try and answer some of the questions today from last Tuesday's topic. We're going to just kind of do some of the more basic questions today, not about the care of donkeys and things like that. We're going to do that in a separate video. That way we don't have like a forever long video that people are like, I just really wanted to, So our farm is in Indiana. We started our farm in 2017, or the donkey side of the farm in 2017. We've lived at this location since 2019. We got into donkeys because I am actually a professional photographer, and I had went over to the Carmel, Indianapolis area and was doing a photo shoot for a lady at a boarding facility for her horse. And while we were there were miniature donkeys at the boarding facility, and they came out, and my daughter, who was a teenager at the time, they were coming up to her, and she was just loving on them. She's an big animal lover too. And we both just fell in love with them, quite honestly. I mean, we were like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. So we're like telling my husband, we need donkeys, they're amazing. Yes, we need donkeys. I mean, so that was like 2014 or 15. We didn't get donkeys till the end of 2017. So in 2017, he bought me Fancy for Christmas. She was actually at an auction, and I just went really scrolling, and she was 8 months old at the time. And so he called and did an over the phone bid for Fancy and told him to call us if somebody outbid us. So that night I was in the shower. It was like 10 or 10:30. He comes in, busting in. He's like, we got a donkey. They had called and told him that somebody had outbid us, and so he bid higher until we got Fancy. So we got her home, and of course he hadn't been around donkeys at all still. Wasn't sure why we were getting a donkey, other than he was getting me a donkey because I wanted one. And I would say like the first week or two into that, he was like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. We need more donkeys, which we knew we needed to get her a buddy, And in March of 2018 is when we got Uptown, who was already pregnant with Lola. We brought her actually from a breeding farm. Yes, we did start out as a breeding farm. We didn't get donkeys initially. Like, the goal when we got Fancy wasn't that we were going to breed. And then, we thought, well, we talked to the breeder, we bought this one, and yeah, can be income in it. So, we were going to be breeders, and we were going to sell donkeys. And we are not breeders and selling donkeys. We are not. We bred, but we kept all of our donkeys. We have several that are babies here on the farm that were born here. Like I said, we never adopted, sold out any of our donkeys. And we now concentrate solely on rescuing, which we've always rescued dogs, and we rescue cats, and of course we have the sheep. We did not rescue Meg, but we got her from somebody who did rescue Meg, but we didn't technically, we didn't rescue her, So we started out as a breeding farm, so not all of our donkeys are rescues. Do I feel like some of the ones that we bought were rescues? Yes. I definitely think some of the living conditions they were in, some of the shelter they had for the winter or storms was not good for one. And some just, you could tell, weren't really anything more than just something there on the farm, which is one reason we stopped breeding, is because we stopped breeding because, one, we realized that there were too many that needed rescued, and we didn't want to be a part of the problem. We want to be part of the solution. So we stopped breeding. We stopped breeding too. I mean, I would have stopped breeding anyways, I think, quickly after that, because I look at my age and how long donkeys live, because donkeys live 30 plus years. They can live even longer than that. And I want mine to all stay here and live here forever. So I don't want them going from home to home. So we started with Fancy, got Uptown. We actually have 22 donkeys here right now. Mama Rain and Bo. So Bo's mom, I know that was a question, is here. She's alive. They came together, Mama and Baby did. Bo just turned 1 in September. And so Rain and Bo are both here. They're rescues. We had another rescue last year, Molly. She ended up passing. So we rescued her. We rescued these two, on top of course, all of our dogs, cats, and other stuff that we've rescued. So, if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't have bred, and I'm going to tell you why, because there's just so many that need rescued, and that would have been a lot of lives I could have helped come to a better life. So, you know, I'm glad we had the babies. I love them all. I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. But if I had been more knowledgeable at the time, we would not have bred. We just would have, we would have rescued. I get, you know, a lot of people, you know, love the babies. I love the babies, but at the same time, there's way more reward in rescuing, in my opinion. To see an animal that's not taken care of come and get their hooves done and get a, you know, a daily, they have the same, you know, diet every day, not wondering if they're going to get fed, not wondering if they're going to get loved on, you know, not wondering if they're going to be stuck outside in the cold. You know, that's something for us. So that's kind of where, you know, our determination to start rescuing donkeys versus, you know, and we're kind of at a limited space here right now. So, you know, and, you know, I can't just bring more on just because I want to help rescue. I have to have the space and the accommodations for them. So I wish we had made a bigger barn. But we didn't. Plus we have a lot of other rescues with dogs and cats and stuff here that we take care of too. So, you know, the donkeys they're not all real comical. There's some that are more just really laid back. Harriet's really laid back, but she's comical when she does get running and stuff. But Harriet to me is probably, they're all sweet. Like, I don't really have any donkeys that aren't sweet. There are some that are sweet, but not as like playful and not gonna, you know, act silly like some of these guys do, or not as much. I would say all of ours can have a comical side to them. Some way more frequently than others. Some are just kind of hit and miss. Like, yeah, Harriet will bust a move out there and run and buck and kick and act silly. And so will like Blossom, but they're not gonna, in Uptown, but they're not gonna do it as frequently as these two right here. So, you know, that's kind of how our farm started. That's kind of what we do now. Where I see us going is if, you know, funds are a thing. We're not a nonprofit, so we rescue a lot of animals. We're not nonprofit. We are fortunate that people do help us at times with our wish list and donate to us at times, you know, because we do a lot of spaying and neutering here, that's not getting included in this video. It's only a separate video. So, you know, I think that the biggest call for rescuing the donkeys, let me get back to that, is just knowing how many are out there that need rescued, how many that are already at rescues and sanctuaries, how many that are, you know, end up at kill pens or auctions. And in this is big for me. This is another reason we stopped breeding. You know, we were sitting there one night and it's like, you realize that like eight of our donkeys, Barney, Betty, Louise, Ozzy, Harriet, Panther, Uptown, Rain, Blossom, no, Barney, Betty, Harriet, Osmond, Thelma, Louise, Uptown, Panther, Blossom, Rain. 10 of the donkeys that we have here, bam, bam, 11. Is it more than that? Oh, Fancy. No, we didn't buy Fancy as an adult. So, 11 of them that we have here, if I counted right, that's just me trying to do this off the top of my head, are donkeys that we bought as adults that people no longer wanted. That then we bred some of those donkeys. And it's like, what are we doing? This is stupid. We're buying donkeys because people no longer want them, and then we're going to breed those donkeys, and we're going to really think about selling those babies, because guaranteed, a lot of people, there are going to be people that are going to be fabulous owners that are going to keep their donkeys, put them on the right diets, get their hooves down, and keep them 30 plus years. But there are going to be a whole lot that do not. And when that many of mine got bought that were at least their third home, there's 8 that I can think of that we are at least their third home that we know of. So at least whoever bred them, the other person that had them, and then us. But there may be more in there somewhere that I don't know about. I'm not okay with that. that's kind of a little bit to cover some of the first questions, you know, here on the farm. And then I will continue to do, I will do another video tomorrow, and I'll probably start with the care of donkeys and what we do here to care for our donkeys. Being so ornery, Dave. Why are you being so ornery, Dave? Barney? Why are you being so